So what I want to talk to you guys about is a bit about kind of growth marketing and how we think through growth in kind of today's world. So usually, when people think of growth, they say, okay, are you talking about the traffic side or the conversion side? And they're both kind of critical pieces of the puzzle. You need to bring people in, there's traffic, and then you need to convert them. And so the third part that's critical is once you talk them in and convert them, is to actually make sure they're successful and they refer and they come back. So I think you really need to make sure you kind of look through all three pieces of the puzzle when you think through growth. Okay, and this is kind of the flywheel that Hubspot kind of talks about, which is that the attracting part is bringing in traffic, engage is when you convert, and then the delight part is when you actually make sure they're successful and they're happy with what you're providing. So when you think through, okay, what is conversion and how you make sure you have great conversion rates, the standard thing is you say, well, we're going to optimize our landing page, we're going to have ebooks and white papers and all these different email capture forms to convert people from the traffic we got from ad or from SEO or whatever it is, and then we're going to convert them. And then a new avenue that's kind of started to grow in the last few years has been how do we create some more personalized interactive content to better acquire and convert users, which I'll be talking about in more detail. The same kind of applies with success. When we think through what makes our product and the customers who use our product successful, traditionally we say, okay, how likely are you to recommend this to someone else? We give you an NPS score. We send them an email before renewal, if you have a renewal or a subscription product. And then we usually say this is kind of part of the success team, and we don't think about this as much as marketing. But I do think that you can do a lot in marketing tools to incentivize or encourage performance, and then personalized onboarding. So a good example of this is that Uber will have certain badges that they give drivers or they give riders, and these badges are just an effort to increase the success or happiness, right? So a driver gets water, you say, oh, they're giving out water, and then they get a badge, like this person has a customer, okay? Or a good talk or whatever it might be. And those badges help encourage performance that is helpful and increases success. And that's can be thought of as part of marketing. Okay, so this is an interesting kind of question, and I think something to think about is that traditionally the way we kind of communicate in marketing is kind of one directional. And so this is kind of an example of a guy on a date with a girl, and he's kind of talking at the girl. And she isn't enjoying it as much because she's not really involved in the conversation, And so you don't want to just have one directional conversations. And the more you can make it bi-directional, the more you can make it personalized, the more you can make it relevant, the better engagement you'll get with your end customer. So that's the moral of the story. So, okay. So I'll go through a few examples, and then we will use those examples to then kind of see how we can take those and apply them to your businesses and industry. So I'll try to go through a few quick examples, and then we'll go into your businesses and how they can benefit. So everyone's heard Amazon. They personalize the recommendations. So you just bought a torch, you might get a battery. You just bought X, you should buy Y. And they do a really good job with on-site recommendations. That helps with conversion. And the recommendations are personalized for you. Like I never land on Amazon and see a dress or something. Okay, so has anyone done the marketing grader from HubSpot side? So basically, this was really popular around 2000, 10 years ago when they launched it. And what they did was you put in your website and you'd give them your email, and they would scan your website and tell you, oh, these are areas you can improve from an SEO standpoint, and these are things you can do to improve your social media. And it's personalized. They give you a score. And it did really well, and this became kind of their number one lead acquisition channel. And the reason was that they're not just telling you, these are 5 things you should be thinking through when it comes to SEO. They're actually telling you, oh, we just went through your website, and you have 4 images that don't have an alt tag. And, oh, by the way, you can get more links to this page, or you could do this to improve your on-page SEO or off-page SEO. So that's pretty cool. It's personalized. It's relevant to your business. Ikea does this with if you see a piece of furniture you're trying to buy online, a common question you have is, does this fit in my apartment or house? Not everyone has all their measurements memorized, so here you can kind of virtually place through an AR iPad app. So it shows you, in your house, this is how this piece of furniture you're interested in will look. And so it's personalized, it's relevant, it's useful. Nike's cool because Nike obviously they sell shoes, but as many of you may know, they decided in the early 2010s to make digital a core part of their strategy, and they started to build apps and tools that aren't actually, they don't make money on them directly, but the apps and tools increase engagement, and your battery is running low. Okay, this is funny. If it runs out, then I will try to, I don't really need the presentation, but we'll go with the flow. Let's see, should we risk it and see, let's take it to 0, or should I lower the brightness? Let me lower the brightness a little bit. Okay. And then let's pray for the best, okay? Let's do that. So Nike, what they do is they basically say, okay, a lot of our runners are running, but the point of purchase is one moment. But there's so much stuff that happens before and after. So after you buy shoes, hopefully you're running with them, you're playing sports. There are all these activities that you do with shoes, and they want to be part of that part of the journey and not just that purchase moment. And so they created apps where you can have a leaderboard, you can compete with other people, you can set goals of like running, and all these things. Again, this is free for everyone, but it's Nike branded. And it's not like, oh, you can't use these apps if you have Adidas shoes, but it gets more brand exposure and it helps you with that type of interaction. Okay, and the last example here. So this is a mobile app cost calculator. So again, everyone is trying to think through, okay, we're trying to build a mobile app, how much does it cost? And this is a calculator that not only shows you the estimate of the price, but it shows you how the price varies by geography of the tech talent and by feature. On the right, so you want both Android and iOS. These are the features you want. And this is very informative. So usually this might be like a few hours. You need like a call to go over everything, and then a proposal that comes in to get all this information. And here you're automatically knowing like, oh, if I go to this location and I remove these 2 features, I'm in budget. And you're getting all that information up front. So it's much more personalized to your specific use case, and it's pretty useful. Okay, so customers want to be engaged with, not sold to. That's kind of the premise, is that you're engaging with them, you're kind of helping them, and while helping them, you're gathering some information and you're giving them personalized recommendations. So how do you build these products? So there are kind of 3 main strategies. The first is if you could have an in-house tech team build it. The second is you could outsource development, or the third is you can use kind of like a SaaS tool that does the building for you. I'm biased because I'm part of the Outgrow team, but any of these are feasible options to kind of play around with it and build them out. Okay, so now for ideas, I'm going to give you guys a quick sense of how do you come up with the ideas, and then we'll try to, whoever's comfortable kind of sharing their industry, we can throw around that microphone and kind of go through what you guys could do, or what's relevant, what I've seen in that area. So sales and support really are where we start, where we always think to start, right? Because your sales team, they're interacting with customers, so they know what questions they have, they know the problems they're facing, they know the issues they're struggling with. So that's kind of the bread and butter. That's where I like to start. And then you can do, what's shared in your industry. There's like Basum and other sites are showing what's sharing, what's popular. And then analyze behavior of most successful customers. That's also a cool way to help promote success. So if, like for example, for us, if a customer connects the product they build with our tool, if they connect it to their marketing automation channel, that's a good sign for their success with the tool. So how can we encourage that behavior? So that's something to think about. And then topics are controversial. This depends on your business. A lot of accountants were building how would XYZ tax plan save you, things like that. Or when HIPAA was coming around, how does this HIPAA policy impact your business? How does this Medicare reimbursement rate impact your business, depending on what business you're in? All right. If you want some ideas, you can email. We can send you ideas. I can also kind of go through. That's what I'm going to do now. Is go through anyone who's willing to share their industry, and then try to get you some ideas that you might help. It'll be a bit of a challenge, but it'll be hopefully personalized and relevant. So we're doing bi-directional. Remember at the beginning I said you shouldn't be one-directional. So now we're doing bi-directional as part of my own presentation, because I should do what I say I should be doing, right? So anyway. Let's see, is anyone comfortable sharing their industry? And then I can try to share relevant examples. All right, here in the back. So do you want to throw it there, or do you want to throw it to me, throw it to her, and what's the process?
Thank you.
All right, good.
He just assumed I couldn't catch. I am in the mortgage space. So I work for a mortgage lender.
Okay. All right. Well, I did not set that up. That's probably one of the easier examples because it's very common. So in the mortgage space, you're basically selling mortgages directly to people buying houses, right?
Yep, correct.
Okay. So the most common use case there is thinking through, okay, what's the right interest rate? So people come in and they say, okay, here's my credit score. Here's my current monthly income. Okay, and then here's how much I can contribute to the down payment. And then what is the estimated amount of loan I can get? And what's the estimated rate I would get on the loan? And if I get those two things, what's my monthly payment? So you can kind of think through, okay, if you are putting a 20% down on a $400K house and your current credit score is 620, and then you should be paying 3.8% interest rate on your mortgage, and your monthly payment is going to be 40% of your monthly income. So that's generally considered a good thing. This is in budget. You could possibly buy this house, get pre-approved. So you're basically, the goal would be this is just to kind of walk someone through what the monthly payment would be, if they would qualify, be able to get the loan, and then to kind of send them in through the pre-approval process. And you already have a lot of the data that you would need to populate the whole pre-approval application. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of the way where I would start. Is that relevant, kind of?
Yeah, it is. I think that's a big tactic with, especially on the real estate side of things, like from Zillow perspective, when someone's looking at a home, that's usually the process, but it does also make sense on the mortgage side.
Mortgage, yeah. And then another thing with mortgages is you're also working with, because you're not just selling direct to the person buying, you also sell through real estate agents probably.
I'm sorry, do you
sell direct, because like the people you're selling through, you can sell to the home buyer, but you can also sell to the real estate agent who's kind of like saying, oh, I'm going to send the offer and then kind of run this through. Do you sell through real estate agents as well?
Yeah, but typically it's direct to consumer because the relationship would already be established with a realtor, so it'd be more of like a referral kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be like the advertising or the marketing specifically is usually not to the realtors as much.
Yeah, it's more to the actual home buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I would start with those things, and maybe I would educate some home buyers on refinancing existing mortgages and on like different types of mortgages. So like see how much you know about variable versus fixed rate interest. Should I get a 15-year versus 30-year? How does that impact my payback, my monthly payment? There's a lot of questions people have around those. And then predictions. A lot of people are like, oh, well, interest rates are going to go up. They said the front of the OMC, whatever, is increasing interest rates over the course of the year. How's that going to impact my mortgage rate if I want to go now or not? Oh, you see, we took the gamble, we lost, but at the right part of the presentation, So it is what it is. I feel bad for the next person though. Anyway, we'll talk about that during the refreshments. But I don't need the rest of the presentation, so we can go going into through the audience, and we'll work with it. Anyone else willing to share their industry over there? That's a far throw. Okay. Nice.
Got it. I work in. Can you hear me?
I can hear you directly, but it's not coming through the mic.
Okay, I'll speak up. Yeah. I work in financial planning, and estate planning can be
planning. Okay,
sticky
cool.
subject.
All right, cool. So in estate planning, the key questions people have is around, I want to retire at 65 or 60, and I want to have this level of monthly income when I retire. And so a lot of the times they're trying to think through how much do I need to be contributing, right, to my retirement plan, to my 401k or whatever it might be. So you can kind of build a calculator saying, okay, well, if you expect to invest in kind of mediocre risk assets, that's like a 5% return on investment. And then if you're contributing, 5% of your income each month to your 401k, then by the time you're 65, this is the total amount of assets you'll have in your retirement plan. So showing them how much they should contribute, how they should think through the investment of those assets, and then the estimated amount they would have at the end is a kind of best way to start with retirement planning. Building that through a calculator. Another thing could be to kind of help people understand the risk profile. So if people are like, oh, I'm interested in investing in like crypto, it's like, well, you're 64, you're going to retire in a year. Investing in crypto is probably not a great idea because of the risk profile. But if you put like 2% of your allocation into it and you're 30, you're probably okay. So depending on how you think through percent allocation, risk profile, and investments like that, I think would be an interesting way to recommend. What other things do you guys do? Estate planning, it's mainly retirement planning, and is it also like tax, like estate, how to put things in a trust and wills, or?
Yeah, estate planning is tricky. It's what happens to your money when you die.
Okay, yeah.
People don't like to talk about that.
People don't like to talk about that as much. Yeah, but I think an interesting thing to do would basically show people how to think through the tax consequences and the legal. If you're kind of saying, oh, like if you put your money, if you transfer your money into a trust versus doing will and probate, how much are you expected to spend? And you say, oh, well, if you go through will, it's going to take this many hours of legal fees. It's going to cost you this much. Whereas if you put the money in a trust, you're going to get, you're going to save on legal fees. It's going to be easier to distribute assets and things like that. So kind of just walking people through that, I think, is useful. And then you could talk through about, like, I don't know if you do legal protection and asset protection as well, but you can talk about how to, put things into LLCs and stuff like that. And so how much do you have at risk? And what are the consequences of dying either without a will or without putting things into a trust, and how much time and money you can save? Kind of educating people through that. I would also start, one of the easiest ways to start with this is to just do knowledge tests. So you can tell people, like, how much do you know about estate planning? And then you can show them, like, actually you only know like 20% of what there is to know, and you can kind of learn and improve on that as well. So I would do stuff like that.
That's great. I pictured a BuzzFeed quiz, like what's going to happen to my money.
Something like that. Yeah, that can work. That can work well. Like, what's going to happen to my money, and where is it going to go? And you can kind of show them, okay, this is how it gets distributed among children, spouse, etc. So that could be a use case. Any other industries? Yeah. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.
I work for a national law firm.
A national law firm? Okay,
Yes.
What type of services?
Personal injury predominantly.
Personal injury? Okay, cool. Yeah. So a common personal injury is interesting because there's so many different types of possibilities within personal injury. But a common one people will start with would be like, so let's say PEDS auto, like a pedestrian auto accident, and you want to walk people through, okay, what's the estimated reimbursements or payments that people have gotten for past PEDS auto or whatever personal injury case it might be. So people can come in and say, okay, this is the injury case I have. This is the damage to the medical bills, and then you can kind of show them, all right, in the past, these are 5 cases similar in your state with that were pedestrian hit by automobile, and then this is kind of the kind of the process took 1.5 years and got paid. The battery is low again. Okay, but it's running. Okay, so and then you can kind of do something like that as well. What else could you do? I think education is also important, kind of helping people understand their how much they know about the process. Like, okay, if you work with a law firm, we don't charge you anything up front. We take 30% of your final reimbursement. So kind of, and walking them through the process, like it's going to take about, a year if it doesn't go to trial. And if it goes to trial, it's going to take another year. Explaining that to them also, I think, would be useful. So kind of basically asking them what's the situation they're in, what's their medical bills, etc., and then kind of walking them through, educating them on how long it's going to take, how much they get back, and the benefits of working with your law firm might be like speed of responsiveness, the thoroughness of your research. You've done this before, like we've already done these cases before. I think all that would help educate them and help them kind of build trust with your brand. Is that relevant?
Thank you.
Yeah? Cool. Awesome. Yeah. You have good catchers here, like baseball.
It's working. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I work for an insurance brokerage, and we do personal lines coverage and solutions. Well, not coverage, sorry, solutions for affluent clients.
Okay. So what types of what's within like high net worth individuals and
Ultra
insurance?
high net worth.
And the insurance, is it on like life insurance or what type of insurance?
All types of personal insurance, so homeowners, personal liability, auto. We provide solutions for their watercrafts, yachts, helicopters, all their fun things.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So this is how I insured my 4 yachts. No, I'm joking. but that's a cool kind of use case. So I think the main questions people will have is going to be if there's the kind of, it's around the purchase, right? So homeowners insurance is after you buy a house. The yacht insurance is after you buy the yacht, private jets, etc. So things associated with kind of the transaction content around that I think would be useful. So let's just think through. As I said, I don't have yachts, but let's see, if I'm buying a yacht, I probably want to think through like where I'm going to park it, the cost of parking, the cost of the insurance, the cost of the crew, and like managing it on a day-to-day basis. So if you can build content around that to tell people, okay, you're looking to buy this yacht, here is kind of the breakdown of the kind of the setup you would need. And then you can say, okay, you're living in Sarasota, parking fees are this, and then this is how much it is. And then based on the size of the yacht, your insurance is estimated to be this amount. Kind of build them through like a financial understanding of what the consequences are, or like how much it's going to cost for the yacht. And then you can kind of walk them through, if they have multiple yachts, how much they can save by bundling the yachts or bundling again, first world problems, or like not a first world problem, this is like 0.001% problems. But it's interesting to kind of do that. The same thing with bundling of cars or your like multiple homes. So I think that would be a cool one as well, how much they can save from that. The key things that I would look into is like a lot of these people when they're coming into, when they do the transaction, if they are like ultra high, they probably have a family office that's running this process, as opposed to like the person doing it themselves. So kind of building content around what the family office is doing, because the family office is probably thinking through investment criteria, they're managing their investments. So content around, how should a family office think through investing? And then, okay, you're investing in, and so there's parts of it's going to be real estate, homes and cars and yachts, and parts of it's going to be like venture capital or whatever. And so kind of helping people think through that, and then guiding them through like, we help you with the insurance products. And then you can say like, get a quote on everything you have and see how much, if you bundle it all together, you could possibly save by doing that all together. Stuff like that might be interesting. I guess it's an interesting segment because it's fun, yeah, but it's a cool use case, yeah. Any other, I think we have like time for 2 or 3 more. Yeah. Nice, that's 5 for 5 on the catches.
Marketing agency?
Marketing agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So there are kind of two ideas here for the marketing agency. The first set is building directly for the agency, and the second is for the clients of the agency. So the agency, is it advertising, SEO, what type of?
Yeah, so SEO, SEM, PPC, that kind of stuff.
PPC. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So the kind of the standard one to start with is to basically say, let's connect to your Google Ads and kind of let's see your current, cost per conversion, cost per acquisition, your current retargeting campaigns, and you can kind of see what's based on their segment and their CPC and their conversion rates, how it compares to their industry, and kind of walk people through. Okay, well, right now you're at like a 50th percentile in your industry. Like, what can you do to get to 80th or 85th percentile? And you can kind of give them recommendations onto that. A lot of times, what we see is that when as a PPC, SEM agencies, they'll kind of help people think through their current retargeting. So they'll look through and say, okay, what are you currently doing when it comes to your pixel tracking and your retargeting? And some people will be like, we have like 1 pixel across the site, and we have like these 2 retargeting campaigns on it. And then you say, actually, you can like segment your retargeting pixels and show them like, if you segment you have a pixel for these pages and for these types of interactions, you can actually better personalize your retargeting campaigns, and that's going to cause a estimated, 7%, 10% bump in effectiveness of ad spend, and kind of walking people through how, if they use your agency, you can kind of help them with that. So the key thing is to show them kind of what they're doing now, where they could be if they were to use you guys, and then how that would help them if they execute on it. That's for kind of SEM. For SEO, what HubSpot did was great, I think. Just starting off with like, okay, do you have your on-page technical SEO down, right? Which is the tags, the alt text, And then for your keywords and your SERP scores, it's like, okay, what are your top 50 keywords and why are these your top 50 keywords? And then how much traffic is driven to those? And then how competitive are those keywords? And then how's your content performing in those areas? And so you can say, okay, well, right now, your SERP score across like these top 50 keywords or whatever, like you can show each one and you can show a table and be like, oh, this one's like currently at 24, and this one's at 3. Okay, 3 is good, 24 is not so good. What can we do? Take it from 24 to 8. All right, we can build like a set of content around this keyword pillar, and that's going to help drive traffic to it, and that's going to increase our SERP score there. So kind of SERP is like the search engine ranking kind of estimate for like what's the position that you come up. So kind of walking people through that would be very useful. People are like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about because he's basically telling me how I can improve my business, and I'm going to hire them because most other agencies, it's harder for them to actually give all that information up front. Whereas you can do that if you build that out. So that's how I would do for SEO. And then SEO, SEM was the other one?
PPC.
PPC,
Yeah.
SEM, yeah, exactly. So those would kind of be where I would start in terms of helping people think through the value that you'd add. And if you specialize in one specific thing, so let's say you're kind of like, oh, we do PPC, but we specialize in, whatever. If you do like a lot of YouTube, or you do a lot of display, or you do a lot of just Google search, pure search, or pure Bing search, or DuckDuckGo, whatever it might be, you can kind of highlight that type of content there as well.
Yep.
Just depends on what you specialize in. But is that helpful, kind of?
Thank you.
Cool. All right. All right.
What's
Yeah.
more?
Oh, these 3. I guess you can go 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay. I work for a mobile app which people can control their smart home products. A mobile app for which people can control their smart home products.
Smart home products?
Yes, like
Okay.
switches, white goods, television, stuff like that.
Okay. And and the control system is kind of through the phone. They can
Yes.
control the lighting, the TV,
Yes.
Alexa, stuff like that. Okay. And you sell the actual end products, or you have a mobile app or SD?
Both mobile app and the white goods.
And okay, cool. All right. So and you're sending mainly directly to the end consumer, or you sell through partners?
And
You're-
consumer.
You sell directly to the end consumer who's using. Okay. So what I would do is I would look through kind of like the types of buyers that are buying it. They might be a bit tech savvy. They might want to, they might have they might have a specific preference. So I'll give you an example. Sometimes people have the lighting system that kind of slowly dims as it comes to night because you don't want like overhead bright lights. So you can kind of walk through, like how can this help improve your sleep with the auto dimming of lights over time. Create content around that. Create content around ease of use and ease of management. I don't know if it connects to an oven and the oven is smart enough to turn off or something. That's really cool because like how many times have people burnt something in the oven? This can help if it's intelligent enough to do that. I don't know how smart it is, but so that would be like a cool use case. Just things that you can highlight that are relevant to that process. What other main advantages that you kind of sell when you tell someone, oh, you should use our smart home system? Is it speed, convenience? How would you kind of?
It is actually the convenience, and we are also offering digital services related to the products, such as, like if you answer 5 questions, the dishwasher tells you which program you should use, or it's the same for a tumble dryer, washing machine, washer dryers. And we have a digital service which there are recipes prepared by chefs, and the oven automatically cooks the recipe selected from the application, just like how chefs would cook
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Okay. So just to clarify, make sure I got that, and if everyone else got it. So basically, one thing you guys do is you have an auto cook option that decides based on certain recipes.
Yes.
Okay. So that I would definitely kind of highlight like how much time you could save by having you guys kind of auto cook the food. And then on usage, that's another interesting thing is like. Some people don't know when to use certain products. It's like, like if you use the washing machine and dryer at this time, the price per kilowatt hour is lower because it's not prime time. And so this is how much you would say, and our system is smart enough to know that. And so kind of something around that I think would be cool. Yeah, those would be a few things.
Yes.
That's relevant. Yeah?
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
And then this is the second one.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I work at Ronald McDonald House, so we provide temporary housing for pediatric cancer patients and their families. So our customers are donors.
You provide temporary housing for pediatric cancer patients
And their families.
and their families, okay? And you basically sell, it's just kind of to regular rental business, or do you sell, like, how does the business work exactly? You're selling to the hospitals, or you're selling directly to?
Yeah, so it's like a physical house on the Upper East Side where they stay as they like receive treatment at nearby hospitals.
Yeah.
And then we provide like social programs like transportation to the hospitals and then like education and wellness services and just like social programs.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would say there's kind of different things there that you can do. The first is to help usually the first place a pediatric cancer patient is probably going to go to the doctor, right? And so you think through, okay, what content you create for the doctor, and then to help them understand the value of telling their patients about you guys, and then the content directly for the patients.
She's soliciting donations.
Oh, you're soliciting donations?
Her customer is a donor.
Oh, okay. So your main customer are the donors to these programs. Okay.
Sorry.
So then I would say because the other people is probably like, you have enough demand on the buy side.
Mm-hmm.
For fundraising, I think the first thing would be people, when they want to allocate money to a certain cause, they always try to understand the actual consequences of that donation and how much value that it's impacting. So if you can show people that say, okay, you have like, whatever, 40,000 you're looking to donate for this year. If you donate this to our program, that's going to get you, maybe, let's say the average chemotherapy treatment is 8 weeks for a pediatric patient. So you might do maybe 2 or 3 patients with their families. And then you can show them like, these are the possible patients you'd be impacting. This is how much time they'd all be able to get. And we can facilitate a one-on-one conversation or something between you and the child, and so you can kind of see the impact. So I would create things like that for people to say, okay, how much spend do you have, and then how should you allocate it? And the advantage is that it's such a unique cause that people can easily get behind. And so the more you can do it, because sometimes you put money into donations and it's kind of like goes into some GoFundMe page and you don't know what happens to it. And so you're like, okay, well, I don't know. But here, if you can show them like, this is your 40K, and then this is the specific rental dates that they stayed in that you covered, and this is, or whatever the amount is. And so you can kind of show them that and interact with the patient. I think that'll be useful. What else could be useful? Definitely patient stories, like showing the patient's stories. I think you're probably already doing that, but kind of helping highlight the stories that they face, how the treatments that they provided, and other services you guys provide other than housing. I think that would be interesting as well.
Thank you.
It's a cool, it's a very interesting cause. Yeah. All right, so I guess time is up. Thanks for asking all the questions. I appreciate it, and thanks everyone for listening to me.